Listen, he would have been perfect. When you really, really think about it, Glenn Danzig would have been perfect as Wolverine. I don't think you could cast anyone better to play Wolverine. And it's such a sad cop out to put Hugh Jackman in there. Now, listen, I like Hugh Jackman. He's awesome. But he's only like Wolverine in the face. That's like the furthest I will go with saying that Hugh Jackman is a good Wolverine. And I mean, granted, he is, but he's not the perfect Wolverine. Danzig was the perfect specimen for Wolverine. He was just optimal, like Optimus fucking Prime optimal. He would have been Wolverine. He would have just captured it in every fucking element and sense of the word. And I truly believe that too. And the thing is with Danzig, I remember way back in the day, I must have been 15. You know, I didn't quite know who Danzig was. I knew the Misfits, and then the name Danzig was thrown around. I can't really quite remember if I was just on the internet one murky, dark, lonely night, just and someone sent me this message, one of my online buddies, and said, dude, Danzig got knocked out. Or if it was my brother and his friends who showed it to me. I can't remember. I think it was kind of both scenarios. I saw it one late murky night, and then my brother and his friends showed it to me, and there it is. Sure enough, Glenn Danzig getting the shit knocked out of him. And I think it was from that day. People's opinion, it didn't necessarily change throughout the years. I've always liked Danzig and his music. I've always liked the Misfits somewhat. But I think people are just made more aware of, like, yeah, he's like this 5'3" dude. Sure, he's on steroids and jacked, but he's 5'3". He kind of trots around this tough guy attitude, and that's very captivating and everything, but that dude just got knocked the fuck out, you know? Like, he got knocked the fuck out. Big time. And I'm not here to shit on him for that. I've heard multiple stories about that, and I can't remember one, but one was actually in Glenn's defense, saying that the dude who punched him, who was from another band, like King, the band name of the band was like Kings, like the Kings of Northside or something. Yeah, I think that's what it was. The story that I heard behind that, and I think the one that's commonly agreed, is that Danzig wanted to get home to Los Angeles, okay? The idea is that Danzig was being like a little bitch, and like he wanted to pack up everything and leave. So, you know, Danzig is basically the main event at this show. So the Kings of Northside, they drive like 3 states from, I think they're driving to Arizona or some shit like that, 3 states away, in this little jacked up van. This is a band that like no one really knows about. So, you know, it's good for them to do an event with Danzig that like really helps them out. But they're also sitting there saying like they thought Danzig was a joke and shit like that, and they had no respect for him. So it's just like, well, you know, like this dude will be doing you a huge favor if he fucking opens for you. So somewhere along the way, maybe they disrespected him. He didn't give a fuck. Because if Danzig opens for you, dude, like back in the day, back in the 2000s, you would become famous, essentially. Or at least you would sell some fucking tickets, and people would now know who the fuck you are. So it's very likely that they disrespected him, and he knew it. Because they even said in their interviews, oh, we always treated Glenn like a joke. I mean, he's Danzig. He's fucking one of the biggest names in fucking punk and the metal scene and everything. Danzig is not a joke. He's a fucking pioneer of the genre. Love him or hate him. But so I guess the story was like they drove like for like a day and a half to get to the event. And then when they get there, they learn that Danzig is like, he's going to come out, he's going to play, and then like maybe some other bands are going to play. So they're pissed off that they drove all the way to get here. And now they might actually lose their spot to perform on stage and, you know, sell tickets or, you know, get some attention, get some 2000s era clout, so they don't like that. And then Danzig finishes his show and he's like, yeah, some bands are going to stick around and play some music. So like, they're like reassured, like, okay, I guess we will get our spot. And then as they're like preparing to get on stage, I guess like the technicians and the crew behind everything, they come out and they start taking everything down. They start dismantling the stage. So it's like, guess what? You're not playing. And so these dudes, the lead singer is livid. You know, they just spent how many hours, how many days, wasted gas money in this beat up van to fucking get there to play, only to be told that they're going home. And it was all because apparently Glenn had this tight schedule and he had to get back to Los Angeles. But again, like, there's always two sides to his story. I can see Glenn as being unreasonable and being this sort of, you know, he's the lead singer of a punk band. I can certainly see him being this sort of prick to people who wants things his fucking way. But I can also see something that's being left out in this story, which absolutely makes the Kings of Northside's story sound like complete bullshit. And I think it goes somewhere along the lines of when they were saying they had no respect for Danzig. They thought he was a joke. So if I was Danzig, I'd probably do the same thing. You think I'm a joke? What are you talking about? I'm the biggest fucking name in the grunge fucking punk rock fucking alternative heavy metal scene. What do you think? I'm a joke? You're a fucking joke. No one knows you. Fuck you. That's what I would speak in his defense if it really played out that way, because they openly state that they didn't like him. But here he is, you know, basically propping you up on his fucking shoulder. So whatever way you want to look at it, and I can totally agree with the Kings of Northside if that's how it played out, where he was just being this little fucking prima donna that wanted to get home. That's like, yeah, knock his fucking ass out. You know, in my eyes, he then deserves it. If he has no reason to jilt you like that, to completely screw you over, then yeah, fuck that dude. But I think there's more to it. So anyways, we all saw the video, and it was like, after that, you know, it's like we were sort of, like I said, I think we were made aware of Danzig. Like, he's not really like this bad fucking dude that's gonna, like, you know, kick your ass or something like that. Like, we've always just kind of like throughout the years, like, I only saw his name kind of getting bigger and more attention being drawn to him. So I think if anything, the video of him getting knocked out did him some favors. But why I'm bringing that up is because Danzig looks the part for Wolverine completely. He's like 5'3". He's got the hairy chest, dark hair, and the muscular physique. He's obviously on steroids. There's a reason they call him Steroid Elvis. But he totally would fit the part for Wolverine. Like, there's no doubt in my mind, and we would have had a way better Wolverine. And I think a lot of people are like, well, I don't know if Danzig could act. And I'm just like, dude, what are you talking about? He spent his whole career acting like a badass. That was his whole career. So of course he can get in front of a camera and pretend to be a fucking badass. He would have been the perfect fucking Wolverine. Okay, like, I get it. Glenn's not like a real life badass. But, you know, when you see him perform at his shows, when you see his music videos, he's completely a badass. You know, he's drawn in these huge fucking crowds. All the fucking eyes and ears are on this fucking dude. Thousands of fucking people. He's on that stage. When he's on that stage and you're in that crowd, he's the fucking badass, not you. I don't care if you can bench press this guy and break him in half. He's the badass when he's on that stage. I mean, not so much anymore. He's like fucking 70 now. But way back in the day, he could portray a badass. He could certainly play fucking Wolverine. Now, was he a good actor? Well, he acted like a tough guy, you know, like in that video, you see him acting like a tough guy, you know, pushing the dude away and come on, motherfucker. And then, you know, like the only thing he didn't do was fight, you know, he just acted like a tough guy. So he certainly knew how to act like a tough guy. I think he would have been perfect as Wolverine. He would have been the best fucking Wolverine. Now, I'm not saying Hugh Jackman's a bad Wolverine, but I wanted a real, raw, preserved and gritty Wolverine, one that's really gonna make me believe like this is the fucking X-Men. Because when I watch the X-Men movie, I don't think that's not Cyclops. That's not Jean Grey, or that's not Gambit. That's not Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. Okay, Ryan Reynolds is actually a little viable as Deadpool, and I mean like Wesley Snipes, perfect casting choice for Blade. But Hugh Jackman, who was Beast? Kelsey Grammer, fucking Captain Picard as Charles Xavier. Yes, absolutely. Now Hugh Jackman as Wolverine and this fucking dork playing Cyclops. Like, these are like the two most unbelievable fucking characters in the entire fucking movie, if you ask me. And all of them, those two, like, they completely destroy the illusion for me. And then when they made the addition of Gambit, like, which one was it? Like, was that a joke? Like I saw the last Deadpool movie and I saw Gambit in it, and it was that fucking one guy, the fucking Channing Tatum. Was that a joke? I have to assume that was a joke, because that was just like fucking like the moment he's on screen, I'm just like, this is funny, I guess it's funny. I don't know if I should find it funny. It's not, it's just put famous people into these roles instead of like, yeah. But here's the funny thing. Most of the time people will be like, what the fuck? Why didn't you choose that actor? They would have been perfect for that role. The reality is, when it came to that situation, they were going to make Danzig. As far as I know, they were going to make him Wolverine. It was basically said and done. And do you know why it didn't happen? Because Danzig turned them down. Isn't that something? And most of these scenarios where it's like they were going to make this person like I remember one crazy one was like I think I said this, and there's a few fucking movies out there, like probably the craziest one is when O.J. Simpson was actually considered to be the Terminator before Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now sometimes you've got some casting choices that are a little questionable before they come into play. I mean, I certainly can't imagine O.J. Simpson as the Terminator, but sometimes they throw some good ones in there, and this was one of them. And usually it's like the producers or director, they usually change their mind along the way. But no, it was Danzig. He turned them down, and it was because he couldn't fit it into his scheduling. So, it's just like, I understand. It's like, absolutely, like, more power to you, because he wanted to focus on his music. Like, and I understand Glenn Danzig is a comic fan. He probably would have actually wanted to play Wolverine, but his music was more important to him. And he would have done a disservice to the fans of his music, by doing that, because I think it would have been completely conflicted with his, everything that he was doing, because at the time he was with his solo band. He wasn't with the Misfits anymore. But I wish that there was an alternate universe where he would have played Wolverine. Like I said, I've never been a fan of Hugh Jackman playing him. I mean, Hugh Jackman, like, he does the job, and that's about it. He comes in, clocks in, and clocks out. That's really all he does. It's like he doesn't go out of his way, because he really can't go out of his way. The only time they really took him out of his way was in the Deadpool movie, and they made the short Wolverine. I'm like, why didn't you just do that from the beginning? Why didn't you just shrink him down from the fucking beginning? Like, I get it. Hugh Jackman, totally in the face, is like Wolverine, but the face is only like this big, okay? Your body is like this big, and it just doesn't work, all right? It doesn't work. And like the other thing was, I think people have said this before, they're not the X-Men movies, they're the fucking Wolverine movies. They're the Wolverine movies. The Wolverine movies. He became the main character. Did he? Yes, he did. He was the main character in every single fucking one of them. The only one that he wasn't the main character is when fucking Jean Grey was like his side piece or something, you know? Like, that was the only time he wasn't like a main character, but he was still the main character. He's the main character in all of them. They just kind of center the focus on a chick for a minute there, and then they kind of tease you with Cyclops, like, oh yeah, he's gonna be the main character. But no one gives a fuck about the Cyclops character because he's not viable. He never has been. And I mean, in the comics and the cartoon and stuff, I always liked Cyclops, but it's just like they fucked him up on film, in my honest opinion. I'm not huge into X-Men, but I always wanted to see like a real X-Men, and like what we got from Fox was bullshit. Complete fucking bullshit. They had so many great ideas though, like this one. There's some other weird people that they were considering for the movie. I think this might be me being a little hyperbole here, but I think somewhere like Henry Rollins was considered a part or some shit like that. I don't think it was just Danzig. I think it was other people as well. But I guess it's just like reality. It was just like, no, you know, because, you know, like people have their own, you know, their own, you know, careers. And if Danzig would have had like, you know, a double, if he would have cloned himself or something, then we could have had that world. And I know I'm really gloating over this because I just found this out. I didn't know this. Like, I did not know this for a long fucking time. And now I do. I really think he would have fixed everything though. Like everything that I see wrong with it. I mean, if you could have gotten in there and fixed Cyclops, I mean, well, Cyclops is probably the worst part about that movie because he doesn't seem like Cyclops at all to me. Just doesn't. I don't know. He's a boring character. He's, you know, like it's like after the second movie, you don't even remember seeing him in any of the films. Like anytime, like I don't remember him in any of the films after the first two ones. Like is he even in them? Like that's how fucking impressionable he is. But yeah. Sad story I just wanted to relay here and just ooze my thoughts out on it. I think this would have been just perfect fever dream for everybody out there. But now that there's AI, you know, maybe someday we can just generate that movie and have Glenn Danzig play Wolverine. Just take all the Fox X-Men movies and like basically just superimpose a Danzig over Hugh Jackman and change his voice and everything. And just like, you know, there you go. Now you have your dream. It's finally come into full, complete visualization. Thank you very much. Anyways, a Master Cat to go. See you in the next time.